Today on the DML News Podcast, we're going to talk about one topic and one topic only. We are now major non-NATO allies with Saudi Arabia. Is this a good thing? Is it a bad thing? We're going to report, you're going to decide, and that's all unfiltered.
Dennis Michael Lynch gives you his word, and he will never let you down. He will always fight for America.
The only one who really puts his money where his mouth is Dennis Michael Lynch.
Hello, I'm Dennis Michael Lynch, and I thank you for joining me today. We are going to have a show for you here today. We're going to focus in on one thing, and that is the visit yesterday to the White House from the Saudi Crown Prince. And what we're going to do here, it's a little different. On most days, I am a combination of facts and opinion. And today, what we are going to do is we're going to just lay out the facts. No opinions whatsoever. I'm going to report, and you are going to decide. Is this a good thing? Is it not a good thing? Where are we? Where are we not? Now, before we get into the entire thing, let me just tell you very quickly. We are, at this point, probably going to have to turn off the deal for all CBD at $20. And the reason being is people are coming in at droves to the point of where we will be printing labels to ship products like 3 months from now. So I'm going to ask you, if you want it, dmlcbd.com, every single item up there is only $20. Consider it Christmas forever, because Mitch McConnell and the GOP stuck in horrifying language to ban basically everything hemp. And so this industry has about a year to live. I'm not going to stick around for the funeral. So we are basically selling off all of our inventory, in many cases below my costs, and in some cases at my costs. It doesn't matter. It's $20 across the board, with the exception of our big bottle of the 6.7 Miracle Me body oil. That is just $75, usually sells for $200. To give this as an indicator, our flagship product, DML CBD Power. This is what I created and solved all of my problems. We usually sell this for $179. Cannot keep it on the shelves. It is the Ferrari of CBD. You could literally pick it up for $20. It is my way of giving back, my way of saying thank you. You probably have a handful of days left, and then I'm just going to have to turn, probably by Friday, and I'm just going to have to turn it off because we just can't keep up with the demand. So if you want to get in for that, go to dmlcbd.com. Every single last product we sell is a mere $20. It's like buying a Ferrari, but at the price of a bicycle. dmlcbd.com. Okay. So I have an outline here. I'm going to follow this outline because I want to try to get through this. I mean, if we do this right, this should be a 30-minute program. And your messages, your comments in the comment section will be something that I will read after the show. I may respond to some of them. I have been very friendly in terms of coming in and looking at posts on Facebook and giving my commentary. Sometimes I'm coming hard and sometimes I'm saying thank you. But I will take a look at the comments at the end. I'm not going to read them during the show. But I do ask you, if you're on Facebook or if you are on Rumble, please hit the share buttons. And of course, if you're watching this later on YouTube or X or anywhere, please hit that share button. And if you are Team DML and you are a DML News app user, I want to let you know that Ryan and I have launched a new app. We are testing it ourselves, and it should be now about another couple of days, and Team DML will have an app that it can use. That's that. Okay, so yesterday, the Crown Prince from Saudi Arabia was given the royal treatment, and I mean the royal treatment, with a state dinner with all huge business dignitaries, Elon Musk, Tim Cook from Apple, the CEO of NVIDIA. They were all there, black tie event. All throughout the day, there were press conferences between the Saudi prince and Donald J. Trump. The reaction to this is mixed, from what I've been able to see. There are those who are questioning why it is that our country and this president continues to focus so heavily in on becoming friends with Muslim countries, those especially those in the Middle East, all surrounding around Israel. That is a concern. People look at the fact that there was a horrifying man who was a terrorist and still is a terrorist, in my opinion. That's the only opinion you're going to get out of me today. The president of Syria was welcomed to the White House last week, sat with the president, was told that he was a big, tough, strong, brave man. This sent a lot of confusion to people across the MAGA world. And then, of course, you have people who are going to defend whatever the president does, no matter how he does it, when he does it. I get it. I get it. People are passionate. I'm not here to judge them. I have my positions, and you can probably imagine where they land. The other half of people who are in support of what they saw yesterday unfold, they seem to ignore some of the warning bells that people ring about the Saudis and about the Saudi prince and about ties to 9/11 and terrorism. They look at this new $1 trillion deal that was apparently agreed to yesterday and the economic upsides to it. I don't know if they're totally looking at all the potential risk factors, but that's what we're going to look at today, the upsides and the downsides. The first thing we have to do is we have to give you a couple of bits of information that I think put the whole thing into a pot for you to stir. And that pot is in your brain. So I'm going to read to you a little bit about Saudi Arabia. So this way you understand what Saudi Arabia is as a country. Saudi Arabia is a Muslim country where Islam is the state religion, and the vast majority of its citizens are Muslim. The country is the birthplace of the Prophet Muhammad and home to the holy cities of Mecca and Medina, which are central to the Islamic faith. Islam is the official religion of Saudi Arabia. The basic law of Saudi Arabia states that the Quran and Sunnah, the traditions of the Prophet Muhammad, are its constitution. Approximately 85 to 90% of Saudi citizens are Sunni Muslims, with the remaining 10 to 12% being Shia Muslims. Shia Muslims is the majority of what Iranians are. The government derives much of its legitimacy from its role as the custodian of Islam's two holiest cities and its promotion of Islamic law, or Sharia. The legal system is based on Sharia rulings. While the government generally allows the private practice of non-Muslim religions, public practice of other faiths is prohibited in Saudi Arabia. It is illegal to publicly praise any other or practice any other religion other than Islam. It is illegal. Saudi Arabia has a large population of foreign residents, many of whom are not Muslim and include Christians, Hindus, and Buddhists. Non-citizen residents are required to carry an identity card that designates them as Muslim or non-Muslim. That's the country of Saudi Arabia. Now, if you feel as if that coincides nicely with the American system, then you are happy with that description. If not, then you may have concerns. I leave that up to you. Now, let's put that to the side for one moment. In the state of Texas, something happened yesterday. Maybe Governor Abbott was watching the program. I say that tongue in cheek. We reported to you yesterday that in a span of 42 months, that in a span of 24 months, 2 years, that more than 40 mosques in a very concentrated area of Texas have been developed and launched. There are approximately 320 mosques now in the state of Texas. 320. That's a big number. And many Texans have been ringing the bell a lot lately about, and these are all different politicians. Chip Roy is one of them, and he is trying to get it on a federal level. that Sharia law is banned in the United States, even Sharia councils. Now, Sharia councils, as I've explained to you on this show before, are imagine you having your own council at home. You're having sort of a family meeting, and you are telling the kids the rules of mom and dad. And even though the rules of outside the house may be a little different, well, we've got rules in this house, and those are the rules that we have in the house, right? Your teachers may tell all of you that you don't have to do your homework. Well, I'm going to tell you that it is mandatory that you do your homework. And that's the sort of thing that you can imagine. There are Sharia councils popping up all over the place. And so Texas took a stand yesterday. The governor took a stand, and I am going to give you the details of what the governor did. Governor Greg Abbott of Texas issued a proclamation on November 18 designating the Muslim Brotherhood and the Council on American Islamic Relations, better known as CAIR, as both foreign terrorist organizations and transnational criminal organizations. This state-level action is not a federal designation, which can only be made by the U.S. Secretary of State under the Immigration and Nationality Act. This is something that Marco Rubio and President Trump have not done. The calls for President Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio to designate the Muslim Brotherhood and CAIR, which operates here in the United States and is very influential with ties to Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, many others, Mamdani, now in New York. They have not designated them. The Trump administration has designated Antifa, which I would describe as a bunch of left-wing lunatics with blue hair and earrings coming out of parts of the body that earrings are not supposed to be in, causing havoc outside ICE facilities. But, you don't see Antifa taking people's lives every single day or throwing them off the rooftops. So it is an organization, dangerous, yes, but it is the JV team compared to the professionals over at the Muslim Brotherhood and the absolute nuts, I believe they are nuts, that run CAIR. And we have talked about this doctrine that was found by the FBI back in the early 1990s, which we believe is the blueprint for the Muslim Brotherhood, connections to CAIR, that they want to take over the United States from within. And it seems as if that is a plan that is happening at an accelerated rate while this country is sleeping. Now, that, too, is an opinion, and that is my opinion, and it's no new news for anybody who listens to me every single day. So it does not, just because Texas does it, does not make it a national thing. So it has no nationwide or immigration-related consequences, such as asset freezing, federal criminal penalties, or restrictions under material support laws. What it does, the proclamation appears to draw on Texas state authority, potentially tied to laws restricting foreign entities or transnational criminal groups from certain activities within the state. While the exact statute isn't specified in the announcement, it aligns with recent Texas legislation aimed at prohibiting foreign adversaries or similar entities from owning land or operating freely, such as restrictions on property acquisition by designated groups. Abbott cited the organization's alleged ties to terrorism, support of jihadist activities, and goals like imposing Sharia law, referencing past convictions of individuals affiliated with CAIR for aiding groups like Hamas and Al-Qaeda. So it prohibits, this thing that Governor Abbott put in, it prohibits the Muslim Brotherhood, CAIR, and their affiliates, that's the big word there, from purchasing, acquiring, or owning any real property, land, or real estate in Texas. This could prevent them from establishing or expanding physical offices, mosques, or other facilities in the state. It also authorized heightened enforcement by Texas law enforcement agencies against the organizations and their affiliates. This could include increased investigations, surveillance, or legal actions to disrupt activities deemed related to terrorism or criminality. The Texas Attorney General could sue organizations or entities affiliated with CARE or the Muslim Brotherhood to shut them down or restrict their operations. However, details on how affiliates are defined or identified remain unclear, which could lead to broad or selective application. It effectively prohibits the groups from operating in Texas. There you go. While not explicitly stated, such designations could indirectly affect any state grants, contracts, or partnerships involving these groups, as Texas agencies might avoid dealing with them. That said, I think you're going to see other states start to follow suit, especially because they're not getting the assistance that they would have hoped for and expected from the current administration. And so that is an important factor for you to understand, that the state of Texas was that concerned after residents and politicians who align with my typical commentary regarding this topic. They took a look at what's happening to their state and they said, we need it to stop. And this is one measure they took. My hope is that Florida does the same. There you go. I inserted another opinion. Now, with this in mind, the question must become, and this is where we are laying out the facts today, are we indeed compromising our sovereignty and our future for the sake of being politically correct and also for the sake of money? That is the question. What's more important? Do we have to try to keep this a Christian nation, or should we be opening our doors and just taking all the money we possibly can to enrich America and make it so this way our GDP numbers, our gross domestic product numbers, continue to scale higher and potentially creating more jobs through foreign nations' investment? That is up for you to decide. One thing we think it's important for you to note is that there are changes being taken in your U.S. government, that there are new people who are involved in government making decisions. Their thought process and their ties could be questionable for some. I'm going to start off with a small little video here. This is a woman named Aber Kawas. She is now going to be Mamdani's successor in the assembly, the state assembly for representation in Queens, New York. She, new to the country, believes that 9/11 wasn't really all that big of a deal and that racism and everything else is basically driven by that and capitalism. Here is a video. You could hear her in her own words, and this is a person who is now in U.S. government. Go.
And finding that, the system of capitalism and racism and white supremacy, etc., have all, and Islamophobia have all been used, to colonize lands, right, to take resources from other people. And so this is like a long trajectory, and we're just seeing the manifestations of that continuation, right, with 9/11. And so a lot of times when people are asking us to respond about, attack, right, if you look back, historically, right, a lot of us come from lands that were colonized, lands where wars are being waged, right? And a lot of times because of U.S. policy or the policies in Europe. And so I find that we can connect over that, but then also that the idea that we have to apologize for a terror attack that a couple of people did, and then there is no apologies or reparations for genocides and for slavery, etc., is something that I kind of find reprehensible.
Well, there you go. If that is the sort of attitude that you feel is representative of how you feel and how your country should be run, well, then you're happy with that, and that's good. Mamdani has now doubled down, also saying that if Benjamin Netanyahu was to indeed come to New York City, that he would seek the imprisonment of Benjamin Netanyahu. That said, I think another thing you need to understand is what the Quran says to all Muslims, whether it's Saudi Arabia, whether it's Iran, whether you're a Sunni, whether you're a Shia, you read the Quran. So this man right here is an expert in the Quran, and he is going to explain to you in what I believe is the best explanation I have ever heard with regard to how it is that Muslims can disguise or pretend in order to be able to take over what it is that they want. Ryan, play that video.
14 centuries of Islam proves to us the history of Islam, that when Muslims take over a place, they cleanse it from Christians and Jews and other religions. You don't find any Jews in Saudi Arabia, you don't find any Christians in Saudi Arabia, nor in Iran, nor in, I can just go down to this, Afghanistan, Pakistan. Even the name Pakistan means the Holy Land, because it's all by Muslim. Pakistan means the place of the Holy Land, meaning that they have removed the Hindus from their land, and now this place is very, very clean. I'll show you out of this book that it says when you're minority living among other nations, you grow in numbers, but you have this face of peace toward them, but you will make sure that you hate them in your heart. This is in this book. This is not what I'm saying. That's what the Quran teaches Muslims, that when you're minority among a majority non-Muslims, you will smile in their face, but you hate them in your heart until you have the upper hand. Then things changes really quick.
So I want to emphasize again what he said there, just at the end, because I think it's very, very important. When you are the minority and you are Muslim, on the face, you pretend as if you love and like and enjoy and embrace, but in your heart, you are to hate until you have the upper hand. So, if you believe the Quran in terms of that's what's written, and if you think that Muslims are instructed to believe and worship the Quran, well, then you're a smart person. If you don't, if you reject these things, you are the infidel. And it doesn't matter if you are Shia or if you are Sunni. It does not matter. All right? It's the difference between if I say to you, I'm Catholic or I'm Christian. All right? It's just the difference of the Pope. We both believe that Jesus is the Son of God. So, with that being known to you, yesterday, the Saudi prince came for a royal visit, as I said. We have a few videos here that we think that you need to see. This is the President of the United States with the Saudi prince, and the prince is explaining his investment in America.
But today it's a very important time in our history, because there is also a lot of things that we're working in the future. We believe in the future of the United States of America. We believe in what you're doing, Mr. President. It's really creating a lot of good things and good foundation to create more economic growth, more business in America. And it will also your work for the world peace. I believe, Mr. President, today and tomorrow we're going to announce that we are going to increase that $600 billion to almost $1 trillion of investment, real investment and real opportunity by details in many areas. And the agreement that we are signing today in many areas, in technology, in AI, in earth materials, magnet, etc., that will create a lot of investment opportunities.
So you are doing that now. You're saying to me now that the 600 billion will be 1 trillion.
Definitely, because what we are signing, it will facilitate that. And
I like that very much. Go ahead. It works.
So $1 trillion. And I just want to give you a little indication of what it was that the Crown Prince there, who he is. So Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, also known as MBS, and other Saudi princes have faced various serious accusations of bad behavior, primarily from human rights organizations, intelligence agencies, including our own, and former U.S. officials. These accusations cover a wide range of actions, including human rights abuses, political purges, and violent crimes. There was a journalist, you may recall, back in 2021. His name was Jamal Khashoggi. He went over to Saudi Arabia and was just chopped to pieces. A 2021 U.S. intelligence report concluded that MBS approved an operation in Istanbul, Texas, to capture or kill the U.S. resident Washington Post columnist. He was murdered and dismembered inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul in October of 2018. MBS has denied prior knowledge of the plot, though he stated it happened under his watch and he bears responsibility. Human rights abuses. His government has been accused of systematic human rights abuses, including the repression of political dissidents, torture, and executions. Critics, including a former intelligence official, have had their children imprisoned in attempts to force them to return to the kingdom. MBS was the architect of the Saudi-led military intervention in Yemen, which has resulted in one of the world's worst humanitarian disasters and nearly 400,000 deaths through direct or indirect means. Political purges and power consolidation. In 2017, MBS directed an anti-corruption campaign that led to the arrest of 11 princes and dozens of other officials and businessmen, including billionaire Prince Alawid bin Talal. Critics viewed this as an attempt to remove political rivals and consolidate his power, seizing billions in assets. UN investigators and news reports have alleged that MBS's personal WhatsApp account was used to deploy spyware to hack the phone of Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos, potentially in an effort to influence the Washington Post's coverage of Saudi Arabia after Khashoggi's death. And then the sexual assault, of women. There have been many of those. There have been a number of different things that have been thrown at this man. And you will have to decide on your own whether or not those things are true. The President of the United States seems to believe that it's all nonsense. And here is the comment that Trump made yesterday in stating how the prince is just one fine dude. Play it.
Very proud of the job he's done. What he's done is incredible in terms of human rights and everything else. And he's the crown prince, the future king. And I just want to pay my greatest respect to your father, the king, who is an amazing man. I met him early on. He greeted me at the airport at an age that was pretty high up there. And it was about 117 degrees. And he was standing on the red carpet as I came out of the plane. And he's amazing. And when I met his brilliant son, it was at the Oval Office shortly thereafter. And you came in representing the country. And I called the father. I said, this guy is fantastic. And I don't know if that helped you or hurt you, but obviously it couldn't have hurt too much because here you are, right?
Okay. So obviously the president says this is a good man, and reports over the course of time say that he is not a good man. We leave that to you for decision. You should know that the 9/11 families have a lawsuit ongoing against the Saudi government for their role in 9/11. The Saudi prince says that they were not involved in 9/11. And here is his response when asked by a reporter whether or not he has anything to say about it. Go.
I feel painful about, the families of 9/11 in America. But, we have to focus on reality. Reality based on CIA documents and based on a lot of documents that Osama bin Laden, he used Saudi people in that event for one main purpose, is to destroy this relation, to destroy the American-Saudi relation. That's the purpose of 9/11. So whoever buying that means they are helping Osama bin Laden's purpose of destroying this relation. He knows that strong relation between America and Saudi Arabia, it's bad for extremism, it's bad for terrorism. And we have to approve him wrong and to build our relation, to continue developing our relation. It's critical in the safety of the world. It's critical against extremism and terrorism.
Okay. And so the last clip here that we have for you is last night. Those videos we showed you there were happening during a open press conference And last night, the Trump administration held a state dinner, black tie dinner, to honor the prince and the $1 trillion he says he's giving. And I'm going to give you an indication of what it is that the $1 trillion is paying for. But we have now designated Saudi Arabia as a non-NATO ally. Play the video.
That we're taking our military cooperation to even greater heights by formally designating Saudi Arabia as a major non-NATO ally, which is something that is very important to them. And I'm just telling you now for the first time because I wanted to keep a little secret for tonight. I just heard him say, "Oh, that's nice. That's another point you won today." And signing a historic strategic defense agreement, which we just signed a little while ago. So congratulations at South Carolina.
Okay, so as a non-NATO ally, it basically says that if the U.S. is attacked, that it could be the responsibility of the Saudis to protect us, and that if the Saudis were attacked, that it could be the responsibility of the U.S. to protect them. It is not written in doctrine that has to be. It's not the same sort of rules that are for NATO allies, but it gives a lot of surveillance back and forth. It basically makes them a brother from another mother. That's the best way of saying it. So in terms of the risks and the benefits of what this deal, this $1 trillion is buying us, let me go through this very quickly as I'm running longer here than I wanted to. From a good side, I guess you could say Saudi Arabia is going to wind up paying $1 trillion to the U.S. It's not like we can't use the money. Job creation, apparently this is going to secure hundreds of jobs, not thousands, hundreds of American jobs in the areas of defense, tech, and things of that nature which surround the deal. The defense partnership, it locks in that the U.S. and their long-term goal of having a more decent, if you will, presence in the Middle East. That will help that. The risks and downsides, nuclear worries. Helping Saudi Arabia build a nuclear program could trigger a nuclear arms race in the Middle East. War entanglement. You could say that a new defense pact risks dragging the United States into a new war if Saudi Arabia is indeed attacked. And human rights. The deal compromises U.S. values by strengthening an authoritarian regime, because that's basically what Saudi Arabia is. And so those are like the quickest bullet points. There is a deal in here for AI, where the Saudis are going to leverage AI technology from the United States. The benefit of that, I guess, is that we're going to be the ones giving it to them versus the Chinese. The downside of that is obviously we are sharing great amount of details with our AI practices with somebody like Saudi Arabia, and we are going to be allegedly building some power supplies units, if you want to say power plants, that would be in Saudi Arabia, which will help power AI and our AI. I guess the downside to that is if this deal is as it's been played out, there's more to understand about it. I have only known it now for a couple of hours, but the problem with AI and power is always that if the power source is turned off, there is nothing. So that is a risk. Now, somebody asked me, and I guess I will have to, somebody accused me of being very biased to the president. No matter what I do, no matter what I report, no matter what I say, I'm always biased to the president. Okay, fine. If that's your argument, then I will accept it. There's no doubt I have bias to the conservative movement versus that of the Democrat movement. When Joe Biden was entangled in business dealings with his son, with entities that we deal with politically, Ukraine, I jumped all over that. And it's being said that I'm not jumping all over what Trump has done with Saudi Arabia. So I'm going to report to you what a Forbes investigation has shown, and I will leave it to you to decide whether or not it is important or not important. I will not give my opinion on this. The Forbes investigation reported that Trump and his extended family secured at least 9 deals with Saudi investors, channeling funds into various aspects of his business empire. Total recent earnings as of 2024, the total dollar amount to the Trump organization is about $50 million. The reported amount earned by Trump and his extended family from Saudi-linked transactions in 2024 alone, $50 million. Private equity funds. There are various different transactions, but basically it's billions of dollars. Billions of dollars have been funneled into private equity vehicles linked to Saudi investors. That can basically go back to Jared Kushner. Licensing businesses, tens of millions of dollars, money directed into Trump's licensing businesses through various arrangements. Also, funds funneled into Trump's Gulf properties and related entities from the Saudis. That's in the millions of dollars. Then there is no amount attached to plans for a Trump Plaza development in Saudi Arabia. The Trump organization has revealed, I think there's going to be 2 different buildings with Trump's name on it in Saudi Arabia. And then another one where there was no amount specified. It was announced in November of 2025, this month. It's slated to open in 2028. There is a new venture announced with a Saudi-linked partner, Dar Global, and the Trump International Hotel in the Maldives. So overall, the investigation highlighted at least 9 deals secured with Saudi investors in the recent past. The business relationships include money funneled into his Gulf properties, licensing businesses, and substantial investments into private equity funds. Again, Jared Kushner. The reporting indicated that in 2024 alone, Trump and his family took in $50 million from Saudi and Saudi investors. So that's that. If you think that's problematic, if you think that's why the crown prince was given the royal treatment, well, then you're going to have a problem with it. If you don't think that one is tied to the other, then you won't have a problem with it. You'll say it's business as usual, and then maybe the Bidens shouldn't be looked at the same way. I don't know where you're left at that. I'm reporting, you decide. I did the work, you decide, and that's that. As far as I'm concerned, we have ourselves some really serious problems in this country. They need to be addressed. That's what this show is doing. I don't get involved in the Israel sucks, Israel's great conversation. I will, though, say that if the man in the second video I played for you about the Quran, if that is what is taking place right now, I think there are 2 things that we must ask ourselves. Have we put Israel into greater danger? Is it that the Muslim world in the Middle East is looking at us, smiling, giving us money until they have the upper hand where they truly hate us in their heart? They hate Israel in their heart. Because remember, the Quran is their law. Sharia is their law. Okay? So, our law is not the 10 Commandments, right? So our law is the Constitution. We've separated those 2 things. They do not over there. So the question becomes very simply, is this a situation where we are being smiled at, but there's hate in the heart? And once we wind up giving F-35 fighter jets and high-end technology weaponry, is it that we are engaging and emboldening the Middle East to eventually be able to eviscerate Israel, where we will have absolutely nothing on our end that we can do? And are we indeed allowing these different organizations, CARE, the Muslim Brotherhood, the Saudis, the president of Syria, who was just at the White House last week, who was a terrorist for 13 years with a $10 million bounty on his head up until just, 10 months ago? So are we opening up our doors too wide for these people to come in, take over our schools, take over our businesses, take over our media, and indeed take over our government? Let's not forget that Newsmax took in $50 million from Qatar. Let's not forget that there are mosques opening at unbelievable rates in Texas, so much so that the Texas government under the governor Abbott decided as of yesterday to designate both the Muslim Brotherhood and CARE as foreign terrorist organizations. I reported, you decided. DMLCBD.com, only a few days left that we're going to be able to keep the doors open for the $20. We may open it again, but we have so many people coming in taking advantage. We got to be able to catch our breath here for a second. We don't want to get a month and a half backed up. So you probably have another day or two before I turn that spigot off, and then maybe hold it for a couple of weeks until we open it up again. So DMLCBD.com. Get in there and get yourself at my cost or below my cost. It's Christmas in November. Until tomorrow, God willing, may God bless you, our troops, the United States of America, and all the 9/11 families. We'll talk to you soon.
Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and Team DML.